I did think Veganuary would catch on because I could see a trend of people not just becoming vegan, but just wanting to understand more and a little bit scared, but needing a bit of help, not sure what to do. So this would be a good way in. I saw that coming. You must remember, I'm very old. Right? I'm almost 100 years old. And I can remember when vegans in Britain were a real minority. We used to go to vegan fairs, you know. If I saw another black person, we would just, our eyes would meet and we would kind of walk across the hall and greet each other. It was just us and a few hippies and, you know. And I would like the whole world to be vegan. But I'm also a realist. And I understand that sometimes people find it difficult. I understand that years and years of mums cooking and grandmama's cooking and great-grandmama's cooking and years of tradition and religion and all kinds of things make you feel that you have to eat what you've been told to eat. So I can understand it takes a long time to unchain yourself from that. So, you know, meat-free Mondays, Veganuary, all these things that come to try and inspire people to try a different way of eating and thinking. I support them all, you know, and I think Veganuary is great because it's not just one day, it's a month. And, you know, the last time I spoke to somebody who was trying Veganuary, I think, I said, it was last year, I said to them in March, I said, how did it go? And they went, oh, I forgot to stop. you know, they just carried on. They didn't even they didn't notice any difference. They just felt better. They didn't feel bad, so they didn't feel that anything had to change. And I had to remind them that it was only 1 month, and they went, well, I'll carry on then. So, you know, it's a positive thing because for me, veganism is partly about my health personally, but it's also about the planet. It's also about the animals, you know. I can see no negative aspect to being vegan, none at all. Caribbean people, Asian people, African people, we have pulses, we have tofu, we have so many different beans and stuff, and they're all available here. So we have no excuse. One of the things I've noticed about people that have become good vegans is that their plates, instead of just being English or Scottish or Irish or British or whatever, their plates become international, you know, because they understand that there are lots of things that grow, and sometimes they don't grow in this country, but people bring them here with their culture, you know, and we're very lucky for that. I think that the last count, it's about 300 languages are spoken in the city of London. And I've always thought that's 300 different ways to cook a potato. You know, that's 300 cultures mixing and melting and blending. And that's a great thing about multiculturalism. You know, with language and dress and all that comes food. I'm not saying I'm perfect. My vegan mantra is that we should do the least harm and the most good. But it's about the intention. In the Caribbean and in lots of Asian cultures, it's about the intention. Nobody's perfect. But if you can avoid being involved with harming animals, then you should do it. I've had people ask me questions about organisations I've been involved in, like Extinction Rebellion, for example. Why is it so white? Is it missing something when it comes to the black community and not connecting? And so the question could be asked about Veganuary. You know, if a lot of people in the black community don't use the word vegan, then they're not going to identify with it, and Should more work be done in that area? I think the obvious answer is yes, but how is it done? There's a thing about the black community which a lot of white people don't understand. When it comes to lots of struggles, I've been involved in the anti-racist struggle. I've been involved in the struggle against the bomb, ban the bomb and all that kind of stuff in the 70s. Lots of struggles that directly impact on black people, and black people are not involved in the struggle. Why? Because the majority of black people that come to this country, first and second and sometimes third generation, they are so obsessed with trying to survive and earn a living. Whatever struggle you're involved in, whatever kind of awareness campaign you're involved in, you have to kind of understand cultural differences. You know, I was lucky enough to know Bob Marley. Bob Marley could never understand when he came to England and America why there wasn't a lot more black people in his audience. You know, he could never understand it. And you know, people like me had to sit down and explain to him that they're struggling, and in some places where he was playing with no-go area for black people, he could go there because he had the band and he had his security. But, you know, for us it was really difficult to get to those places in the 70s. The best sound in the world, that I for me anyway, is the sound of a primary school when the kids are just playing. You know that you get a sound in the playground, it's just the pursuit of happiness. You know. But the worst place to be is in that playground if nobody wants to talk to you and nobody wants to play with you. And that was me. And then one day this cat came along, and this cat was happy to talk to me. And then the cat came back the next day, and I played with the cat, and he said, "What?" And then he brought some of his mates, you know, and I was like, yeah, a little cat gang, you know. And at that point, I realised these animals are not judging me. I had this love affair with animals as a kid, and this almost suspicion of humans, you know. And so I went vegetarian at 11. A couple of years later, I was reading some literature about females and why female animals produce milk. And it wasn't vegan literature or anything like that. It was just animal literature, literature about animals. Females produce milk for their children. After infancy, their children stop having milk and grow up, all that kind of stuff. We know it all. And then I just went, that's it. I'm not going to have milk. And I remember saying to my mum, I didn't know what the word vegan was. I'm not having any animal products, Mum, and I'm not having any milk. And she went, why? And I went, because I'm a feminist. I always say I went vegan for feminist reasons, you know. This is women's property, all right? They have the right to give it to their children, and we have no right to go and take it from them. It was all very instinctive. In fact, the first time somebody called me a vegan, it was weird. Somebody came to me and they had an ice cream and they went, you want to lick at my ice cream? And I went, nah, I don't have animal products. And this other kid went, you're a vegan? And I went, don't call me names. And I jumped on him and I started fighting. And somebody grabbed me and went, no, vegans are okay. Vegan's a good word. I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't know what it meant. Somebody had to sit me down and explain to me what the word vegan meant. So in a way, I'm quite proud of that because I didn't think I was joining a club. I wasn't doing anything trendy or anything like that. Yeah. Veganism, if I can use that term, is something that I think you have to feel in your heart. You know, you have to feel it in your soul. You have to really be it. I remember many years ago, some survey was done on the amount of vegans in the country, and I can't remember the statistics, but it was every year so many people become vegan, and then so many people drop out. And a lot of the people that dropped out were people that became vegan because their partners were vegan. And then when they split up, they stopped being vegan, you know? Well, I can show you letters, well, nowadays it's emails, from people that write to me, especially young people. And they go, Benjamin Zephaniah, I heard you saying something about being vegan, so I'm going to be a vegan because I love you. And I'll write back to them and say, no, Don't be a vegan because of me. You don't know what I'm going to do in the future. I may be your hero now, but what happens in the future when I'm not a vegan? Then you're going to go that Benjamin Zephaniah let me down, so I'm not going to be a vegan anymore. You must understand why you're a vegan. If somebody came along and said, well, you know what? We fixed the problem with the earth, right? And we can give you health forever. So it's okay, you can carry on eating animals now, you can start eating animals. I'd still say no. Because when I look into the eyes of an animal, I see a living thing. I see a thing that could have been me. And I see a thing that I could have been, you know, because I'm not really religious, but I think there's something spiritual, and I think it's equal shares for all of us. Doesn't matter if you're an ant or an elephant. All right? I know that may sound a bit weird, but that's the way I feel. I don't think our spirits are sized according to our physical bodies, you know. So I still wouldn't eat meat because I feel it in my heart and soul. I guess the biggest change in veganism that I've seen is people, lots of different types of people. You know, you've got vegan Muslims now. I remember going to vegan fairs back in the day, and it was, you know, 2 black people and hippies. Now there's a whole range of people. But, you know, also when you go into a supermarket and you see sometimes they have literally vegan sections. It's interesting because I meet so many people who will say things like, I'm not a vegan, but when I eat animals, it weighs me down. And so just once or twice a week, you know, and if I shop, I'm trying to be ethical. So I try and go to this kind of a shop and that kind of shop. And you can see, and this is where Veganuary comes in, you can see they just need the confidence to just take that one step further.